Hey everyone, Natissa here on the Subtropical Florida Gulf Coast, Zone 10, and welcome to the Spring Seedling Tour of the 2024 Spring and Summer season. Bit of randomness, but if you hear my voice changing up a bit, I am getting over a cold, so we are still in the fall and winter season of what I call the 2023 season, and still going to be doing tours out in our garden, and we're still having harvests out there, but we are already starting for spring. And something I learned during this season that we're in, fall and winter, and as I started my tours for the first time ever in the garden, I realized plants grow so fast. And I wished I had started the tour for the fall and winter earlier. So I thought to myself, well, here's the opportunity to get started with spring. These seedling tours are going to allow you to appreciate watching the life of that small itty bitty seedling of a plant and following it to the end of the spring and summer season. So all these seedlings you see around me is the future garden, is the future garden tours. I thought these seedling tours would also be very important because I just put out a video of how I started my seeds for this spring. And I'm learning along the way, as with every gardener, and you know, things happen and you make adjustments. And this is a way for me to really tell you, hey, this is what I'm doing. And then these little update tours are a way for you and myself, as I'm learning, to see what is working, what's not. But also, I believe there will be success no matter what, because I am in my 5th year of gardening now. And gosh, I've learned so much since then, and even back when I first started, we were having decent success. So I want this to be a major encouragement to you as well, along with you just enjoying it. A few more things I do want to say before I give you the little seedling tour is that today is February 1st. A lot of these plants were started between the first few days of January, and many of them, I'll put the date on the screen, but I believe it was January 17th is when I finished my main seed starting. I'm by no means done seed starting, but the reason I started some of those seedlings later wasn't for the benefit of the plant itself. It was just because I had better time later in the month. But the seeds I will be starting in a couple of days, I just felt that I needed to start them a little later. Again, we'll see. That's why we're going to do these seedling tours. So a number of these seedlings are approaching the 1 month mark, and it's really starting to show. A couple of new things I am doing this season is I am using the Epic 6 cells and 4 cells for planting my starts in. I know the bottom area of that pot is supposed to help with root development and that sort of thing, so I had the opportunity to try them. Not sponsored or anything, this is just a gift that was given to me, and I am so excited to use it. Also new this season is I have an indoor growing light system, and for spring I have generally just started my seeds in the carport. The sun comes through, heats up the cement. It works out very well. I might get slightly leggy plants, but it's always worked out in the end from my past gardening. But I'm very excited, and I think it's very important to try gardening in different ways, just in case for whatever reason circumstances change. You can, well, know what else you can do and have experience in doing it. So that's new, the indoor growing light system, working with that. And at around about maybe it was the 2-week mark, I have been taking it outside and putting it in the carport just to get some real sun, get some nice circulation, and I just felt it would help with drying the top of the soil area better, so that way we didn't have, I think it's called dampening off, that fungus that comes and nips the seedling and kills it. Either way, it's important to have the first top, the top portion dry up just a little bit. And also to hopefully keep the gnats down, because we have been experiencing that a little bit inside. Not overwhelmingly so, but enough that I'm hoping going outside will help them. Also, like I said, circulation. You need your plants to experience the wind and breeze because it will help them strengthen up instead of just sitting there, and then you put them outside and they will not have the strength to withstand a gentle breezy day. If you have seen my seed starting video for this year, but I was very concerned about the fact that I may have put too much sand in my seed starting mix, and sand is great for drainage, but there's also, I don't know, a point where maybe it could have been too much. But we'll take a look at the plants now and see what you think. Should I have been concerned? I already had to put some of my spring plants outside. They just grow, like I said, so fast. That's why we're doing this tour now. Sunflowers, they were pretty much ready to go by the 2-week mark. I did plant them in the 6 cells, so they are smaller. I just didn't feel comfortable with up-potting them, putting them in a larger pot so they had room to grow before I put them outside. I just thought, well, they grew so fast, so let's just put them outside, see what they do. If I need to grow more, it'll be fast. We can grow more. I thought I've heard that you shouldn't really grow sunflowers in starts, and you should direct sow them in the garden. Take your seed, put it out there, that's its place. But I thought I would experiment with seed starting them in the containers. So this is also just an experiment for the sunflowers in general. We'll be taking a look at them, don't worry. Something I've been more diligent on in watering my seedlings is I have been using the rainwater from the catchment system here. Looking really good. I'm also not seeing any aphids or pests like that like I saw last year as I had them growing in the carport. Because last year I know I did a smidge of compost tea in the water as I had been watering them. And I've heard that sometimes too much nutrition for a seedling, or maybe even any plant, can actually bring in aphids. That's where I read, and I'm leaning towards believing in that being what I saw last year on my seedlings. And so far, I have not used any bit of compost tea because honestly, the plants are looking good. I did put in a little slow release fertilizer in the seed starting mix, and I mean, between that and the rainwater, the seedlings are looking good. I don't feel the need to do anything more with them with fertilizing just yet. And one more thing, I have been underwatering, meaning I have the seedlings in a tray and I've been watering much of it in the tray, so it's sitting in water, and the roots that are going down can, pull up the water they need. And I just make sure they're not sitting in water for too long because that can drown your seedlings. In some cases, I have been watering, above watering, trying not to purposely hit the leaves or anything with the water, but it just depended on each case by case of where the plant was in its growth and what tray it was in. Let's now get started on our seedling tour. It is February 1st, and this is basically the first month in on the start of our spring and summer gardening. Evidence that seed starting has begun. I have a bunch of used containers and even like different yogurt pots and that sort of thing that I saved for seed starting. So there's that. But here is what we are here for. The seedlings of the spring and summer garden. And this is not everything like I had mentioned because there's more planting to do. But let's get up close and see. All right. I need to thin these out. These are the sweet basils. So I'm going to probably be dividing some of those and putting them in containers. The goji berry that I took seeds from the actual fruit, and the seeds were like approaching 5 years old. Do you see that white dot on the tip of my finger? I know I'm wearing gloves, but do you see that white dot? I believe that is a germinated seed. It's going to be interesting to see if it is the goji berry. I'll be shocked, but I'll be thrilled if it is. This is interesting. I called it a Spanish daisy. I don't know what it is. It's the flower that I got in the wooded area walking my dog, and the flowers were growing in sand. And look at it. It's looking really good. And something interesting to say about this is that wild flower did not come with a seed packet, obviously. But because of my seed experiences and starting seeds, I have noticed that the smaller the seed it is, the more to the surface it goes. But something I've also noticed in starting seeds when you look at the packets, a lot of wild flowers say to surface sow. So that is what I did. I just sprinkled the seed on top, and I did press it in the damp soil a little bit, but enough to where you could still see the seed. And it's worked. So, don't be worried about, not knowing the proper depth of planting a seed, because it works out pretty well generally when you know the basics. Lemon basil. The lemon basil I need to divide up too. I want to use that for tea. Catnip. Hey, it is coming up. It is working. We'll see how well it flourishes. Oh, snapdragons. Yes, coming up very well too. Gosh. Very nice. I'll have to divide those up. Let's go to the tray behind it. Looking very leggy, but it's our Chinese spinach amaranth. I have a couple of these going. Butterfly pea. I already have a larger one, but that is one of them with the pretty blue flowers. My passion fruit did not come up yet, but that's okay. If I remember, they took longer, and sometimes with passion fruit seed, I've heard the germination rate can go down decently fast, but we'll see. I have plenty more seed if there's a problem. And up above that is the summer savory. So I'm definitely going to need to make some selections, make some divisions of that. It's like the thyme herb substitute. And above that, the herb I was really excited about. That one I cannot pronounce, but also known as Bolivian cilantro or coriander. So gosh, when it's growing, you see it just looks so, I don't know if you can tell, but it just looks so thin, the stems and everything, and gosh, it looks like it would just not work, so wispy. But look, it's really, really gotten stronger. Look at those leaves. Look at those leaves. The thing that did not germinate is right behind that. My toothache plant, Spilanthes, I believe it's called. I don't see any germination yet. I did read it takes a little while, so we'll see. And we have our moss rose coming up wonderfully. We'll need to divide those to get some more plants out of that. It's really growing. Couple of extra purple basils that I stuck in these little cells, looking nice. And last in this little section here, the ashwagandha. I was a little worried. It was taking a little while for it to come up, at least for me. And the seed packet even said something about lower germination. But hey, it's looking really good. Moving up. My beloved, I always call it my beloved, blue feathered lettuce. And these I did not plant from seed. I took these seedlings that were popping all up around the garden, and I'm going to try to use this in the front yard for our ornamental edible garden. And yeah, because that works very well. And it looks very ornamental. Coming down from the blue feathered lettuce, we have our ground cherries. I definitely need to divide these plants up and up pot them. Meaning, when I say divide, if you see the multiple plants growing in the cell, there's some plants you can gently tease apart, as they say, to create separate seedlings, and then you just put them in another pot, and you have a couple extra plants. So ground cherries looking really good, growing really fast. Let's move to the back. Yep, I started some more sunflowers because the other sunflowers I told you about grew so fast. I already put them out in the garden, and I thought, well, let's try some more and just, I don't know, keep them coming. Sometimes that's a good idea in case something happens to the ones out in the back. But beyond here, we have some peppers. This big one here is a Cubanelle, it looks like. These little ones are the pretty and sweet. So they're a little behind, but we'll see, we'll see. More peppers up here. They're all kind of looking at their same heights here. We have some habanadas and chocolates and Jimmy Nardellos. I have my test shishito packet here. And actually my shishitos, really tight spaces here, but my shishitos are actually quite behind the rest as far as development goes. Well, here it is. And I still have hope in them. I mean, this, I believe, happened last year where they were one of the last to come up and still the ones producing right now, so I'm not too worried. A lot of peppers, a lot of the yarrow. I'm very surprised at how well and hardy this plant is, considering it's such small seed. So that's pretty good. And oh, the amaranth, the pink amaranth that has done so well. And it's so interesting. It might be hard to see in video, but this is more like, this is already bushing out, and it seems very sturdy for such a seedling, whereas my Chinese amaranth is very leggy and not really branchy, but we'll see. I'm trying to give this one a good, nice shot. I know this pink one does so well, and it's just proving it at a side-by-side comparison so far, so we'll see. Kind of moving behind that, the muscadine grape seeds I planted, no germination yet, but I did plant them about only 2 weeks ago. And they were in the refrigerator to mimic cold temperatures because I read somewhere that that is what it needs. And when I started planting them, they were actually starting to mold on the tips. So I don't know if that was a bad sign or not, but we planted them anyways. We'll see. Beyond the grapes, we have more purple basil. Looks really, really good. And next door to that, the red amaranth. Oh, look at that. Look at those leaves. Oh, yes. They seem a little more sturdy than my Chinese amaranth, but still not as bushy as that pink amaranth, but it's looking good. Let's move to this large thing right here. Switch over onto this side. It might be a little easier to see. We have our Jubilee watermelon and these eggplants. These healthy looking eggplant seedlings are the second generation of that midnight moon. That eggplant I have outside that I've been raving about. And these are just looking like the best eggplants I've ever grown so far. So I don't know if it's how I've been growing them or if it's something in that variety, in that seed, in the genetics. I don't know, but looking good so far. The cantaloupes. My Edisto 47 that's supposed to be very good for heat and humid climates. Looking good so far. I'm hoping getting them out in a seedling stage and giving them a head start will help them in creating fruit and making it through our summer because, yeah, last year was brutal. Hiding amongst the melons, we have the Indian Burr Gherkin. Look at that. This plant is it's just so hardy and strong. So I need to start planting these out very soon. I actually had them drying out accidentally and forgot to water them, and they looked a little stressed. Put some rainwater in there. No problems now. I'm so excited for this pink cosmos. Look at it. It is like really outgrowing this space. But what's interesting is, see the leaves, very, very feathery. And down here is the orange amaranth, the bright lights that I've been growing and enjoying. So it's just interesting to see a side-by-side. There's the bright lights cosmos, there's the pink cosmos. In the way back, some more watermelons that I have started a little later. I'm going to need to make some selections on, you know, which one is going to stay or not, because I'm not going to divide these ones up because I know the root system can really struggle with watermelons. Even though I've done it in the past, I just noticed that seemed to really set the plant back, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to be snipping them out. So I'll be taking my little clippers and just cut out whatever one so I don't disrupt the root system. I did not mention this in the Everything I'm Planting for Spring video because it was seed I got kind of last minute, but Blossom, it goes by another name. I forgot. I'll put it on the screen there. But I've read, always do your research, I always say that, but I've read it was on a seed company website that you can eat the leaves, I guess cook it, and they do that in some other countries. So I thought, ooh, I want to try that. And it looked beautiful. Green onions, I don't know what the deal is. I am just, we'll have to talk about that later, but I'm struggling this time. I don't know why. Oh, a tag fell. Oh, look at that. My other green onion tag fell. Is that like a sign or something? I don't know. But yeah, in the back, we've got some chamomile. I always keep trying my chamomile. And some seed floated into this section, which is my king of bitters. I also got last minute. It's, well, as its name suggests, it's very, very bitter, but I've heard it's very good for the immune system and helping with sicknesses and keeping things, you know, not so bad. At least that's the studies that people were doing, and I want to try it out because it's supposed to do very well in my climate. Could use that now with my sickness for sure, but we'll have it in the garden soon. More peppers. Do I need this many peppers? Probably not. But they're all looking really good. Got our more Jimmy Nardellos, bird beak ones, some Cubans, some jalapenos. All looking great. But here in this line, we have the scarlet sage flower that I'm very excited about because when the plant dries out, it's the one that blows in the wind. It's looking really nice. I think, hard to tell, but it's already starting to branch out between where the stem is and this first set of leaves. There's like a little branching that is about to happen. So that's cool. What didn't germinate yet, and I'm trying not to freak out about it, is my bitter melon, my big top inabashi. But if I remember last year, things took a little while, so I am trying to be hopeful. I know the seed packet says anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, so we're about at that mark, so we'll see. I might have to plant more. Moving over to the side. Tomatillos, and I need to do some dividing there too. I did that last year where, you know, you divide those plants out and you have 2 separate plants, pot them up, and it worked very well, so I'm going to do that again. Oh, I didn't show my loofah up here. My goodness, these came up crazy fast. They're already starting to really like kind of branch out. I got to get them out there. And I did stratify the seed. That's where you kind of scrape it. And I kind of scraped that tip off. And I thought, well, let's try it. I've heard people say that that works very well, and it so far has. More green onion. I have a couple plants coming up, but man, what a discouragement this year. But hey, I had good success last year, so maybe this is just a bad year. I have, one winged bean coming up so far. Another plant that just seems to take forever to germinate. And the past few years that I've grown it, I wait and wait and wait. And then the moment I see the one kind of starting to grow, usually the others start following because it takes another 2 or 3 weeks. And we're at that point again. I don't see any here. And I do have one more planted elsewhere. So, I'm hoping. But we'll keep an eye. Down here we have the Vinca or Vinca, those pink sort of tropical looking plants. And I was wondering how well they were doing or going to do from seed. And I was, you know, I admit I felt very hesitant about it. But they came up very nicely, very beautifully. I can tell that that is what it is. So I am going to have to snip out a few of them and leave one behind. I'm not sure. I assume they do divide well, but I just don't want to risk it right now. So, I mean, maybe I should test it out, but I don't know. I just don't want to do that. So, we'll be selecting. This tray here. This beautiful plant is that Lagos spinach, that type of celosia. Oh, the leaves are very succulent-like, and they're just very healthy, very sturdy. I am very hopeful about these edible greens. More peppers! I forgot. We have our Pippin's honey pepper. Look how beautiful the leaves are. Very healthy. Very beautiful. Yes. And next door, probably don't need this many, but more of that scarlet sage. By the way, not an edible sage. It's just the flowers, and they just call it... tropical sage. Yeah, tropical scarlet sage. But yeah, not edible, but looking really good. That's probably my healthy batch right there. And more peppers. The Corbaci from the single seed challenge of last year. I took the seed and planted it this year. How cool is that? And we have who plants it but me. Some dandelion, good edible greens there, very strong plant. And also the chicory. Gosh, this is only like not even a month old growth, and it's, I mean, it might be hard to fully tell on screen here, but it is one of my biggest plants. But very strong, very solid in there. We're gonna go finish up outside and show you those sunflowers. Here's a picture of these sunflowers at about 2 weeks old in their seed starts. And you are about to see them in the garden with a total of basically a month of growth from their seed germination till now. So you can see the difference in just what that bit of time has done. And they're looking pretty good. These are them here in the beds, and this is a mammoth variety that's supposed to get super tall. And you're probably wondering, why did I do that? Well, my dog Minu, as you see in the videos, she likes to eat sunflowers, and I'm hoping she won't discover these just yet. So far she hasn't. When I first planted them, they were, gosh, about the size of where those first little leaves are coming up. So I planted them about maybe that high, and now it's like almost tripled in size. So that is looking so promising. Started them from a seed start and not from direct seeding, so that's very good. Over to this next bed. It is a little shaded out by the tomatoes and the collards, but we do have another little sunflower starting to pop up through here that I planted. Honestly, I just been busy with so many things. I've been kind of forgetting to really take care of this one, but we'll see. Over to this bed over here. This sunflower is looking wonderful. But I discovered the other day something took this one out. I admit, I feel like my dog did it, because there is a log here, and I no doubt would think that she'd put her paws up here and snip off that top. There's just no trace of it anywhere, so I don't know. Minu, I'm watching you. And one more sunflower. We are turning this way. Yes, looking good. This one has a little bit of a barrier, but it's not going to stop my dog once she discovers it. I just had an extra one. We'll see what happens. Keep your eyes peeled on the top corners of your screen, because I'm going to have a video showing up of everything I've planted and why. And the other one is about how I started my seeds this year, so that way you can follow the progress as we go. And also be sure to subscribe, because in the very, very near future, I am going to answer the question of what is the single seed challenge and what am I going to be doing in that challenge too. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.